Hello everyone, welcome to iExamB, and today I am going to have a very interesting session. So please participate, please ask questions, anything that you find confusing or any questions coming to your mind. Please keep asking whatever you want to related to this topic. I am Prachi Agarwal, the finance faculty at iExamB, and what I'm going to discuss is about the Adani Group and the Hindenburg research report that was released 2 months before. So exactly 2 months before, on 24th of January, a report was released by Hindenburg Research, which has led to a crash in Adani Group stocks. So there are around 7 entities of Adani Group that are listed, and they fell like a pack of cards. I had already done a very detailed video before also on this. So what's my purpose today exactly of doing this video? हम यहाँ पे आज की डेट पे 2-3 थिंग्स पे बात करेंगे. You know how things have moved over these 2 months since the report came out. What has been the role of and what do we mean by offshore financial centers? Actually, these are more commonly known as tax havens. Okay, the more sophisticated name now being used is offshore financial centers. If you are preparing for IFSCA, then this will be important for you because this is one of the types of global financial centers that exist. Okay, then we'll also talk about the role of minimum public shareholding and how Adani Group is being questioned on this aspect, and the problem related to corporate governance or the concept of corporate governance. Again, these two things are very, very important for your SEBI and for your RBI exams, right? So overall, the idea of discussing this is to understand how things have moved, how practically things happen, how you can conceptual understanding help you to understand the events that take place in the economy, right? So let's go ahead. It all started, as I told you, on January 24, 2003, when Hindenburg Report had released this report, and they had called it one of the largest con in corporate history, right? That the Adani Group has pulled it off, and there are a lot of things that they have done which is equivalent to a con in the corporate. Some, if I specifically tell what it was written, the Hindenburg Report says that they had investigated this entire group for 2 years and had found that there were brazen stock manipulation and accounting fraud schemes that was being carried on by the company. They had based this premise on a lot of factors. One, the company is highly debt और हाईली लेवरेज्ड, मतलब उन्होंने बहुत सारा डेट उठाया था अपनी कंपनी में जिसकी उनकी रिपेइंग कैपेसिटी है नहीं. देन दे सेड कि इट इज़ हाईली ओवर वैल्यूड. ओके, द स्टॉक इज़ हाईली ओवर वैल्यूड और उसमें 85% ड्रॉप होना चाहिए वैल्यू में. एंड ये जो इनकी रन अप इन द स्टॉक्स हुआ है वो लास्ट 3 to 5 years में ही इन्होंने किया है. एंड देन दे आर ऑल्सो सेड दैट देयर आर कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस इश्यूज, बहुत सारे एलिगेशंस एंड फ्रॉड इन्वेस्टिगेशंस कई सारे promoters and associated people के against company में they were ongoing, and there were a lot of shell companies that have been used to pump up the price of the stock. So these were some, in very brief, some of the allegations Hindenburg research ने की थी. And of course, after that, it hugely impacted the Adani Group stocks. And as a latest report that was released by Hurun, they told that in last year, full financial year, this is not just since January, but in the full financial year 22-23, Adani, the promoter, the main person behind the Adani Group, Mr. Gautam Adani, has lost almost 3,000 crores a week. Right, so that much amount of money has been actually lost by the Adani Group. Okay, this is not actual money that gets lost. Okay, it is the value. Okay, अगर आपका share 300 का था, sorry 3,000 का था, and it comes down to say 1,000, so there is a loss of 2,000 that has happened. So this notional loss is what we are talking about. So it's not like आपका actual cash loss हो गया है, बट जो भी आपकी वैल्यू थी, जो भी आपकी वर्थ थी, वो रिड्यूस हो जाती है. सो दैट मस्ट हैज बीन लॉस्ट. सो इफ आई शो यू द वेरियस 7 लिस्टेड अदानी ग्रुप कंपनी, 7 है. अदानी एंटरप्राइज, ये जो प्रमोटर की मेन ग्रुप कंपनी है, दिस इज द फ्लैगशिप कंपनी. Okay, and after that they have Adani Wilmar, Adani Power, Adani Port, Adani Transmission, Adani Green Energy, and Adani Gas. Okay, Adani Total Gas is the exact name. And all of these companies, since the report, since till the 23rd of March, till the end of yesterday trading, they have lost a total of, on an average, more than 60% on an average. They have lost this. Okay, so this much fall has happened in the share prices of these listed company, right? So exactly what all are more the details. If you want to know more what exactly had happened that time when the report was released 2 months back, you can also watch this video that I had done in January itself, related to what this entire report is all about and what Adani has said. Right, so since then, these 2 months, now what has been happening in these 2 months, that is also important to know. So in these 2 months, Adani Group has been in a firefighting mode, right? They have been trying to do away or take out the fire that was put out by the Hindenburg Research Report and led to a crash in their stocks, right? तो अपनी स्टॉक को कंपनी के मार्केट रेप्यूटेशन को सेव करने के लिए अदानी ने काफ़ी सारे स्टेप्स लिए. उनका जो फर्स्ट स्टेप था जनवरी में इटसेल्फ वाज दे गेव अ वेरी डिटेल्ड रिपोर्ट अबाउट ऑल द एलिगेशंस जो हिंडनबर्ग रिसर्च रिपोर्ट ने की थी. प्लीज़ अंडरस्टैंड, जो ये रिपोर्ट आई थी, दीज आर एलिगेशंस, अभी तक ये प्रूव नहीं हुई हैं, राइट? बट मार्केट वर्क्स ऑन सेंटिमेंट्स, तो अगर वहाँ पे डाउट होता है तो ऑफकोर्स मार्केट रिएक्ट्स. बट जो एलिगेशंस है अभी भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन हो रही है, वी हैव नॉट गॉट अ रिपोर्ट येट. ओके, सो अदानी ने अपनी तरफ से एवरी एलिगेशन के रिबटल होता है, एक एवरी पॉइंट का आंसर देना. ओके, सो एवरी पॉइंट का दे गेव एन आंसर एज टू व्हाई व्हाट हिंडनबर्ग रिपोर्ट इज सेइंग इज इनकरेक्ट, right? So that time, and it was a huge report, it was a 413 plus pages kind of a report in which they gave all the details saying that what Hindenburg is saying is incorrect. That was the first reaction. After that, they also threatened that Hindenburg, they will do take a legal action, because without any base they have made these allegations. They have also taken a short position. So short position kya hoti hai? Again, I had explained in that video that I did in January on this particular topic. तो शॉर्ट पोजिशन से हिंडनबर्ग को फायदा होता है. सो ऑल दिस रिपोर्ट दैट दे हैव बिकम दे टुक आउट, उसकी वजह से स्टॉक फॉल हुआ था, एंड अदानी एंड हिंडनबर्ग मेड अ प्रॉफिट आउट ऑफ इट. सो दे वर अ इंटरेस्टेड पार्टी इन दिस रिपोर्ट, एंड देन दैट was threatened. Adani Group said कि इन्होंने हमारा reputation को question किया है, they have led to a fall in our stock and they are benefiting from it. So they had threatened it, although this has not gone ahead as of now. Next was that time when the report was released, Adani Group was in the process of raising equity through through an FPO, which is a follow-on public offer. Follow-on public offer में क्या होता है? Already एक listed company पब्लिक से और मनी या इक्विटी रेस करने के लिए मार्केट में आती है, तो उसको हम फॉलो ऑन पब्लिक ऑफर बोलते हैं. जब वो पहली बार आती है देन वी कॉल इट आईपीओ, इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफर. जब वो बार बार आती है या नेक्स्ट टाइम आती है लिस्टिंग होने के बाद, तो उसको हम एफपीओ बोलते हैं. सो अदानी ग्रुप वाज दैट टाइम इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ टेकिंग आउट एन एफपीओ फॉर ऑलमोस्ट 20,000 crores. एंड ये क्यों वो ला रहे थे, इक्विटी रेस करते, बिकॉज दे वर हाईली लेवरेज. तो जो हिंडनबर्ग रिपोर्ट ने लेवरेज की बात की थी, that was something that was not new, right? So that was something that is known, and वो अपने डेट को कंट्रोल करने के लिए, बेटर डेट इक्विटी रेशियो को मेंटेन करने के लिए इक्विटी रेस कर रहे थे. एंड दे ऑल्सो वांटेड टू एक्सपैंड देयर बिजनेस. They are into various businesses but more inclined to infrastructure, right? So infrastructure like ports की हमने बात की, power की बात की, green energy की बात करी, solar में they are there. Okay, wind energy also they are there. So a lot of infrastructure projects they undertake, and usme a lot of capital is required. So they do raise a lot of debt, and they need an equity to be able to make a base and a good debt equity ratio. So they were in that process, and of course jab markets mein this report came, the prices fell, so this had an impact. Nonetheless, Adani was still able to close their FPO and raise 20,000 crores despite a fall in their share prices. However, just to show that they are a good company and they are interested in saving the investors and they are always in line with the investors, उन्होंने ये पैसा वापस कर दिया investors को and cancelled the FPO. So remember, they were able to raise it despite all this, but they returned the money, but they were being able to raise this from some foreign investors, right? So not from the public directly, but from some foreign investors. So that was the first step they did to save their reputation and save their goodwill, that they are always with the investors and that they have sufficient money to go on and repay their debt. The next thing they have actually done is gone ahead and repaid their debt. So there were Hindenburg में जो एक बहुत बड़ा acquisition था, they were related to their balance sheet. One, that they are over leveraged. ओवर लेवरेज मेरा वही मतलब है कि डेट लेवल बहुत हाई है, अनसस्टेनेबल है एंड दे मे नॉट हैव द मनी टू सर्विस दिस डेट. If you are preparing for finance related exams like IFSC and SEBI, please make this as a very important aspect that you are preparing for. But that means the ratios related to leverage and solvency. आपका डेट इक्विटी रेशियो आता है एंड कवरेज से रिलेटेड होते हैं डेट सर्विस कवरेज रेशियो, इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो. सो इफ यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर एनी ऑफ दीज एग्जाम्स, please don't forget to understand the meanings of all these ratios and terminologies like over leverage and high debt का क्या importance होता है. And after this also comes in the liquidity ratios, which is your current ratio, right? So please, this is from your exam point of view, I'm telling this will be important for you to understand, right? So yes, so the questions were being raised that their debt service coverage ratio is not comfortable, their current ratio is not comfortable, and the company may not have the money to pay their loans as and when they mature, and their obligations over 2023 and 24 may be difficult to pay for the Adani Group. So again, to save their reputation and to prove them wrong, actually over these 2 months, Adani Group has prepaid almost 2.15 billion worth of their loans, and basically this includes all of the payments that they were supposed to be doing by 2024, by March 2024. So they have paid a lot of prepaid, matlab before maturity, before it became due, उन्होंने इसकी payment कर दी है. It is worth $2.15 billion, which is huge amount, almost more than 18,000 crores अगर हम INR में बात करें in the rupee terms, right? So all this Adani has been doing like a firefighting mode, trying to save their reputation, trying to prove that the Hindenburg Report is absolutely wrong and that the Adani Group is financially stable and can, take care of its finances, right? So that is what Adani has been doing. Now, what happens on the way? So this is what Adani has been doing on its own. Have they got any support? Yes, they got an external support early in the month of March, and that came from a boutique equity investment firm, US based, whose name is GQG Partners. Okay, so this is a boutique equity investment equity investment companies होती हैं. They are like asset management companies who invest again in different kinds of equities or securities of other companies, of course for a return, right? So they came into picture and they have bought almost 1.9 billion worth of shares of various Adani Group companies, right? Some of them include Adani Enterprise, the flagship company, Adani Ports, Adani Transmission, and Adani Green Energy. And the rationale behind this has been that after the fall in the Adani shares, they have almost declined by more than 50%. A lot of them are actually at half the value, and therefore it's a bargain price for them to buy at, and they believe that the company is asset rich. Infrastructure company hai, to assets hai, and you can't take away that fact, right? So that has been the argument of GQG, based on which they have invested $1.9 billion in the company, which again approximately is around 15,000 crores in INR. right? Okay, so black shadow, okay, we are looking at the facts. We will see what happens exactly, right? So let's focus on some concepts and understand कि कैसे things are working and how they are working as of now. Okay, so right, so yes, let's go ahead and understand this case. So this was what the one external support they got. The other external support has come in the form of the credit ratings, right? Now credit ratings क्या करते हैं? Credit ratings give an opinion on what? On the credit worthiness, right? So credit worthiness का मतलब होता है कि whether the company has sufficient money to be able to service its debt, right? So जो credit ratings होती हैं वो debt से related, usually debt से related होती है. Having said that, what black shadow you are saying, corporate governance issues are also taken into picture, of course, right? Why? Because this credit worthiness जो होती है वो हमेशा दो aspect पे determine होती है. One is your ability, right, which I think Adani Group is trying to show. Okay, ability मतलब आपके पास पैसा सच्ची में है कि नहीं देने के लिए, रीपे करने के लिए. एंड दूसरा होता है विलिंगनेस, राइट? विलिंगनेस होता है कि वेदर आपके पास है या नहीं है, दैट बिकम्स सेकेंड पिक्चर, बट आप वापस करना चाहते हो कि नहीं, राइट? सो वी हैव हैड केसेस ऑफ फ्रॉड्स लाइक in the past, which are again ongoing, nothing has concrete has come out, like Nirav Modi, right? So it is said that there is not that the money is not there, लेकिन fraud हुआ है and there is no intention to pay back, right? So वो वहाँ पे आपकी willingness चली जाती है. So it is both important, and that's why it becomes important corporate governance देखना, right? कि corporate governance is important, कि the management should be willing also, right? So that's why जो credit ratings हैं, they also take into account this aspect. Now all the credit ratings have been reviewing and been watching the various Adani Group companies that they have rated, both nationally and internationally, because इनका international debt भी बहुत ज़्यादा है. They are also rated by international agencies like S&P, and then internally also, like Fitch also rates, and then domestically they are also rated by CRISIL, they are also rated by ICRA, right? So there are different companies are credit rated by different credit rating agencies. All of them have reaffirmed the ratings. Reaffirmed matlab they have not changed the rating following the fall in the stock. Again, various reasons, because repaying capacity hai, they can actually prepay the loans, they have the factors. However, some of them have changed the outlook. Okay, Fitch had actually reaffirmed the outlook, but in India, CRISIL and ICRA both have given a negative outlook. Now negative outlook का ये मतलब है कि they are watching and they are saying if anything comes out, what black shadow you are also saying, if anything comes out and proves and has been proven against the corporate governance aspects of the company, then of course there is a chance कि credit rating reduce कर दी जाएगी. That is what we mean by a negative outlook. So वो yes, domestic companies ने, credit rating companies ने किया है, but as of now they are sticking to their ratings because company के पास finances हैं to be able to service the debt. That is what has been stated. So this is all what has happened from the external aspect, and this is what gave some relief to the stocks of Adani Group's shares over the last 1 month. तो अगर मैं last 1 month की बात करूँ, this is somewhere from Feb 24th till March 23rd, right? So March 23rd se movement, some important stocks of Adani Group, if we look at, they have actually gone up and given a good return of almost 20% plus on an average of all these group companies. Yeah, so this is how the movement has happened because of these factors. They prepaid, investment was done by an external party, credit ratings were reaffirmed, and a lot of people bargained by the stock. So these led to this factor. But the important aspect to see is this is 1 month. If we look at from the date of the report coming out, this was the date when the Hindenburg report came. This was the day that was first traded after the report came out, because 24th was US time. In India, it became 25th. By the time the report came, the trading day was almost ending. 26th January, we had the Republic Day holiday. So 27th Jan was the first day when the reaction or the the impact of the report was seen. That is where it shows sharp decline. And since then, they touched a low. There have been different dates for these different Adani Group companies where they touched a low somewhere between Feb and the first week of March. So they touched a low, and from their low, yes, they have risen. But if you see, they are still a huge way down from their actual prices, right? So Adani, this is the enterprises. This line I have shown only for enterprises. From a stock of almost 3,500, they are still around 1,800. So almost 50% they are still down, right? So it's not a good, pullback still. A lot of things have to be done. And now we come to the reasons why it will be difficult for Adani to come back to this level, and why it may still be a very huge risk for the Adani Group. So before we move ahead, let me remind you at iExamB, the focus of ours is always to unfold your potential, ताकि आप अपने पोटेंशियल पे अपने हिसाब से प्रिपेयर करें एंड वेरियस अपॉर्चुनिटीज जो आती रहती हैं उन सबको ग्रैब कर पाए rather than just one particular opportunity. So we help you to build your concepts and prepare 50% faster so that you can crack any opportunity that comes your way. So if you want any more details, you can always reach out on our website for any kind of details or help. So let's continue. So as I was talking about why it is still going to be a very huge task for the Adani Group to recover from these aspects, because there is a lot of things that have been put to question which are still not really answered. Okay, so let's go about and talk about this. The first is the corporate governance issue, and the other is talking about valuations, right? So valuations is क्या एक्चुअल सही प्राइस होना चाहिए कंपनी का, एंड कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस इज रिलेटेड टू हाउ वेल इज द कंपनी बीइंग रन, मैनेज्ड and being administered by the management and the various representatives or the various stakeholders, right? So that is what have been questioned over here and which still remains in lingo. Okay, so talking about the first aspect is the corporate governance. So climbing that stairs to actually prove that there is good corporate governance being practiced in the company is still a challenge for the entire group. Okay, and why is this important? Because good corporate governance basically reflects that there is a very open culture in the company, that they are very transparent in all their operations. Okay, वो अपने जो भी operations कर रहे हैं, जिस तरीके से वो structured हैं, जिस तरीके से उनके transactions हो रहे हैं outside world से and related parties से, all of them are happening in a very transparent manner. They are giving all the accountability to whatever they are doing, and there are proper disclosures. When this happens, this is when we say a company has good corporate governance practices. There is, and जब good corporate governance practices होती हैं, then chances of arbitrage, chances of some people benefiting from the share movements वो reduce होता है, right? So insider tradings and arbitrage possibilities in such companies are highly unlikely to take place, right? So corporate governance is a very important factor, and India में काफ़ी सारे laws and regulations भी exist करते हैं to make companies work towards good corporate governance. To name a few, Companies Act itself talks about corporate governance. Then after that, we had a very important committee being set up by SEBI, which was the Uday Kotak committee that was set up on corporate governance since 2015, and they had come out with the regulations, and वो आज की डेट पे अप्लाई होते हैं लिस्टेड कंपनीज पे थ्रू सेबी रेगुलेशंस, अंडर द LODR regulations उनको इनकॉर्पोरेट किया जाता है, which talks a lot about the disclosures and the transparency of sharing the information, right? So all this has to be done, and now the questions, as Black Shadow you are also saying, कि they are being raised, so they have to prove if that is actually right or not. So corporate governance के जो points इनके ऊपर allegations या question marks उठाए जा रहे हैं, they are one related to their dealings through tax havens and instances of round tripping taking place. Second is that because of the manner in which the shareholding is structured, they are actually flouting the minimum public shareholding norms that are given by SEBI. Okay, so although on paper वो उसको meet कर रहे हैं, but in spirit they are not meeting because beneficial owners ठीक से disclose नहीं किए गए हैं, right? So they are flouting those regulations, and then they are not disclosing all relevant information to the public on a timely manner, right? So these are few things that have been questioned and are still not clear-cut answers have not been found, and this is why there is a lot of uncertainty and there is a lot of you can say doubts related to good corporate governance practices being done at Adani Group, irrespective, despite the fact कि Adani Group ने अपने सारे loans पे भी कर दिए हैं, प्रीपे कर दिए हैं, एटलीस्ट जो नेक्स्ट 2 years में ड्यू थे उनको उन्होंने कर दिया है प्रीपे, उसके बाद भी कंपनी people and the market are not confident, and वो not confident इसीलिए होता है, and market में two things work. One is your valuations and the other is sentiments, and the sentiments are much stronger than the valuations, right? So this is how this have been done. So very quickly I will move to the other aspects. It's getting a long session. Stay with me for 10 more minutes and I hope I'll be able to answer a lot of doubts that come to your mind, right? Before I move on to explain each of them, actually Supreme Court also intervened. SEBI has already been trying to investigate this since the report came out. They have not come out with a report yet, and with a lot of government and the public pressure, the Supreme Court also, a lot of PILs were also filed related to this aspect, and the Supreme Court intervened, and they have also set up a committee which consists of 6 important people from different areas of expertise. We have 2 bankers, Mr. O.P. Bhatt, who is been the ex-chairman of SBI, Mr. K.V. Kamath, he is a very, very seasoned banker, been in ICICI, he was also heading the NDB New Development Bank, more commonly known as the BRICS Bank, and now he is heading the NABFID, the latest all India financial institution set up for infrastructure in our country. Then the panel is being chaired by the Supreme Court judges. So it is Justice A.M. Sapre who is heading the panel. There is one more member who is a judge, Justice J.P. Devdhar, who is also there, and apart from that we have one very seasoned lawyer on the panel and a very seasoned tech and corporate governance person, Mr. Nandan Nilekani, who is there on this panel. So these 6 members have been set up as a committee by the Supreme Court to investigate and find out what has happened, and more important than finding out, this is also being said to see what are the lapses and the holes or gaps that are there in our regulatory system that we need to fix, so that people cannot take advantage of those gaps. Okay, so panel जब भी setup होता है या कोई भी inquiry होती है तो उसके हमेशा 2 aspects होते हैं. एक तो inquiry से to find out the truth, and the other is कि आप वो जो भी loopholes हैं उनको आप plug करिए, या फिर if people are not really understanding the spirit of the law, then we actually make the law and the regulations in such a manner कि all those things can be plugged, right? So we also want to strengthen our regulatory base, right? So that is also the purpose of this committee, right? So सिर्फ committee इसलिए नहीं है कि हमें बस prove करना है कि what is right or wrong. Of course, that is also a collateral that comes out of this, right? So moving ahead to understand what exactly are tax havens and round tripping. So tax havens actually, by definition, they can be any nation or a territory that imposes the least amount of taxes possible on foreign citizens and corporations, and they may also be referred to as offshore financial center. Like I told you, if you are giving an IFSCA exam, there is something called global financial centers that is there given under your topics, right? So offshore financial centers are one of the type of global financial centers, right? जिनका मतलब है offshore, मतलब वो आपके shore पे नहीं है, आप अपनी country से बाहर एक financial center setup है which is more corporate friendly, which helps you to take and set up your financial transactions and do them in a manner जिससे आप with least cost, least tax implications अपना work carry out कर सकते हैं. इनको more commonly tax havens बोलते हैं. इनके जो main features होते हैं, one is of course minimal or zero tax rate. बहुत low tax rates रहते हैं, so people are actually moving their businesses, not really businesses, but वो transactions या investments करते हैं in countries के through so that they don't have to pay taxes. Second है financial secrecy. A lot of them, maybe they don't have very low tax rates, but they ensure there is financial secrecy. आपका जो भी information exchange होगा उनके साथ, they will not share it with somebody else. The best example of financial secrecy being is the Swiss banks, right? And they are famous for that. Okay, even if the tax rates are higher, but उनके आपकी information कहीं और बाहर नहीं जाएगी, so you can work in secrecy. So that is another benefit people look at. There is no local presence required. Local presence required नहीं है. That means आपको वहाँ पे एक physically office setup करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. आप सिर्फ register कर सकते हो companies के and you can carry out the transactions online from anywhere in the world. So that is another benefit that tax havens may offer to attract people to come to their country. And why do countries set up tax havens? To attract of course investment. उनके country में investment आती है तो उनकी economy grow होती है. So that are the reasons there. But of course tax havens globally अगर हम देखें जाए तो it leads to a lot of tax being not collected. तो गवर्नमेंट्स को लॉस उस एस्पेक्ट पे होता है कि अगर उनके कंट्री के लोग थ्रू टैक्स हेवंस वर्क करते हैं तो वो टैक्स लॉस हो गया, पॉसिबल प्रोबेबल टैक्स लॉस हो जाता है फॉर दैट country. Like in India, if we have our Indian corporates working through tax havens, the tax that could have come as corporate tax वो नहीं आ पाता. So that is the loss. Okay, so this is how they work. And what we mean by round tripping, sorry, moving before this, round tripping का मतलब है कि money comes back the domestic country. अगर हम अपनी इंडिया की बात करें, इंडिया का पैसा बाहर जाता है, say Mauritius. Mauritius is a very famous tax haven that is used by Indian corporates, and then it comes back to India in the form of investment or as foreign investment, right? So ये round tripping actually use होती है to convert the black money into white money, right? And that is why ये discourage किया जाता है. One legal way is tax, आपका government का tax revenue reduce हो रहा है. Illegally, it can lead to a lot of legal activities, that is black money being converted into white money. This money actually funding illegal activities, terrorism, or something else. It leading to money laundering, right? So all these aspects, and that's why they are not considered well. Okay, and the other aspect that now comes into picture is minimum public shareholding. Now this has been flouted, again saying the fact that round tripping के through actually Adani Group के लोगों का ही पैसा has come back in the company as foreign investment and being shown as public shareholding. So they are saying कि round tripping करी गई, public shareholding बना दिया गया है कंपनी के ही पैसे को. So they have actually not complied with the minimum public shareholding रेगुलेशन सेट बाय सेबी. इस रेगुलेशन के अंतर्गत एक्चुअली कंपनीज जो भी लिस्ट होती हैं उनका एटलीस्ट 25% ऑफ द शेयर शुड बी हेल्ड विद द पब्लिक. और जो ये पब्लिक होती है ये इंक्लूड करती है म्यूचुअल फंड्स, फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स, एनीबडी हु इज अ नॉन प्रमोटर. ओके, सो दैट बिकम्स द पब्लिक शेयर होल्डिंग. बट इफ वी आर सेइंग कि अदानी ग्रुप का ही पैसा बाहर गया एंड वो फिर फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर के थ्रू वापस आया, एंड दीज फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट्स वर एक्चुअली शेल कंपनीज दैट आर हेल्ड बाय द अदानी ग्रुप पीपल इटसेल्फ, देन दे हैव नॉट मेट द मिनिमम पब्लिक शेयर होल्डिंग criteria. Why is this criteria important? Because it leads to better liquidity. अगर आपने लिस्ट किया है बट आपके शेयर्स अवेलेबल ही नहीं है मार्केट में ट्रेड करने के लिए तो इलिक्विड हो जाते हैं, जिसकी वजह से द इम्पैक्ट और द वोलेटिलिटी ऑन द शेयर्स इंक्रीज टू अ वेरी वेरी लार्ज एक्सटेंट. देन कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस इश्यूज हैं, बिकॉज अगर आपके ज़्यादा शेयर्स पब्लिक में नहीं हैं तो दे आर ऑलरेडी पब्लिक इज माइनॉरिटी, एंड इन दैट केस इवन लेसर माइनॉरिटी होने की वजह से देर इज ऑलवेज अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बिटवीन the objectives and what is wants to be achieved by the promoters and what is in the benefit or interest of the minority shareholders. तो वो conflict अगर रहेगा तो minority shareholders will be at a loss, which is against the corporate governance issues. And third benefit होता है अगर आपकी public shareholding अच्छी होती है then it leads to better price discovery, which is a factor of liquidity. जितने illiquid होगा stock उतनी price discovery becomes very very difficult to do. So इसलिए minimum public shareholding criteria काफ़ी important, and if companies flout this, they are actually going against the entire spirit of why they are listed in the first place. Right, so these were some very very important aspects that have been questioned. We still don't have the answers to it. They are under investigation. And what has Adani done? Adani ने अपने दो aspects पे अपनी रेपुटेशन को बचाने की कोशिश करी है. वन इज़ ऑन द एबिलिटी, एज आई टॉक्ड, एबिलिटी पे उन्होंने लोन्स को प्रीपे किया है. एंड नाउ इट कम्स टू द विलिंगनेस. नाउ टू शो देयर विलिंगनेस दे आर नाउ ट्राइंग टू डिस्क्लोज मोर फैक्ट्स. सो जस्ट लास्ट वीक दे ऑल्सो सेड दैट विनोद अदानी, जिसका नाम एक्चुअली हिंडनबर्ग रिपोर्ट ने बहुत लिया है कि इनके थ्रू शेल कंपनीज क्रिएट की गई जिसके थ्रू मनीज वापस आया है इंडिया में. They have disclosed that yes, he is related to the promoter group. We have never said that he is not related to the promoter group, but we have not used him to bring back the money in the country. So that is what they are saying. So they have at least owned up to the fact that yes, Vinod Adani is a part of the promoter group. So this is the last communication that has come from the Adani Group. Now we are also talking about the valuations. I talked about 2 points. One was corporate governance and the other is valuations. Are valuations important? So valuations of course are important, but of course it's also a factor, or it gets impacted a lot by the sentiment. Why sentiment? Because valuations दो तरीके से की जाती है. एक होती है आपकी actual valuation based on the intrinsic value of the company. Okay, now if you are giving IIFCL exam, these things become important for you. Intrinsic value, जो आपकी based होती है कंपनी की ability to earn, right? तो आप कंपनी कैसे earn करने पाती है till eternity, तो उनकी क्या intrinsic value based on its assets and future growth. Okay, and the other is relative valuation. Relative valuation जो होती है वो use करते हैं multiples of similar companies in the industry, right? So बहुत common use होता है PE. Infrastructure companies में another very important multiple is used EV by EBITDA. Okay, these are the multiples that are used. Okay, so based on this, the company is highly overvalued. It was overvalued and it still is even after the drop in VAR. And the other intrinsic value is जब आप actually company की earning capacity के base पे उसकी value निकालने की कोशिश करते हैं. One of the very famous and renowned professors who is known for valuations is Mr. Aswad Damodaran. Okay, and he himself has written a blog and done a valuation based on his parameters and all, and a beautiful blog he has written. If you are really interested in valuation and understand the market, I think you should definitely read it. You will find the link in the description also. You can read this out. He has written a very beautiful blog on how the Adani Group, according to him, is valued and should be valued, and why he does not agree with some of the allegations because they look doubtful. Having said that, he is never saying that the company is rightly valued. So it's a very nice blog. You can read that, and he is one of the most renowned and followed person for valuations of the stock globally. Right, so that's all from my side, Black Shadow. To answer your question, I am not here to decide whether a scam has happened or not. I am here to help you understand concepts so that you can draw your conclusions on your own. For the right kind of conclusion, let's wait for the SEBI report and the Supreme Court panel's report. So that's all from my side. As I said, whether the report is true or not, we'll wait for the proper authorities to take that decision. And in the meanwhile, this is all about Adani. What Hindenburg has been continuing to do is what they do, that is investigate companies, come out with reports and then short take positions. This time they have done this for a US based company, Block. It's a payment app which has been started by Jersey. He's a co-founder of Twitter. And yesterday evening, this report has been released. So yes, we can read about it. If you are interested, you should definitely go through and read these reports. This will only strengthen your financial conceptual understanding, right? So that's all from my side. Thank you. Please don't forget to write the comments in your, about the Adani Group, or in general about the session in the comments box, right? So I'll wait for that. Thanks all. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, please. We will keep coming out with interesting live sessions. So don't forget to also press the bell icon, right? So that's all from my side. If any other queries, please do write in the comments box. Thank you everyone and have a very good day.